What is up, everybody? My name is Dr. Mongoose, and I'm not a doctor, but I play one on the internet, bringing you today a game of Hardpoint in Titanfall. It's the final mission of the campaign, and the subject of today's video is going to be a little tips and tricks video. I know that there are a bunch of these out there, but seeing as I do have a series called Improving Your Form that will be coming to Titanfall, it's just waiting until the game's been out a little longer, some of the meta develops, and we see some we're finally getting private matches, so we're able to kind of figure out how certain things in the game works. But this is just kind of a tips and tricks video to touch upon things that I haven't really seen other tips and tricks videos focus on. And I think that I can provide a decent sort of idea of how to potentially play the game, maybe do some things that people had never really thought of. Why do I feel I'm qualified to talk like this? Well, I'm got a like a 73% win ratio. I've finished in the top 3. I've got 120 matches played. I finished in the top 3 103 times, and I've got 65 MVPs. So I feel like I'm pretty decently qualified to talk about how to play this game well. And so jumping right into my first point, as you saw me trying to hack the Spectre there, one of the biggest things that you can do in this game is just hack everything. And you see this play a lot bigger in objective games like CTF, but on any maps where there are the big anti-aircraft turrets or something like that, try to hack those as much as possible, because what you'll end up finding is that by hacking them, there's a little parkour fail there. By hacking them, you end up getting map control where you don't need to necessarily be babysitting it. Like, you can leave a Titan on autopilot, you can leave, you can have, Spectres defending an area or something, but if you just hack the turrets, it's free base defense and free map control that you don't have to babysit, and you can just, keep an eye on, make sure people don't take down the turrets, make sure they don't necessarily take down, shoot them out with Titans or what have you. Another very important thing about hacking is if you run into a group of Spectres and you're, alone or you have the time, hack them. I mean, what it does is that it gives you three or four guys that will follow you around. What's nice about hacking Spectres is if you hack a fresh group of Spectres, then what'll end up happening is that the entire Spectre squadron will follow you. So generally, you notice how Spectres will drop in pods of like 2 or 3 or 4. If you hack one of them, all 3 or all 4 of those Spectres you can see right here, I have 3 Spectres, all 3 or 4 of them are going to now follow me. And so again, Spectres are not going to get you too many kills, but it provides a nice distraction. If you're surrounded by 4 or 5 other things when other pilots try to come and get you, then there's a good chance that they might be drawn to the Spectres, or they're just if you have a large group, it throws people off when it comes to how things are seen in the game. Next thing I wanted to talk about is just kind of movement and how the game works movement-wise. What's really important is that you have to understand this game is 100% movement-based. And I'm sure that's like, oh, Jack, that's super obvious, man. Like, of course it's movement-based. It's like parkour like crazy. You're stupid. Well, what a lot of people are think when it's like, oh yeah, of course the game's movement-based. What they don't understand is that it's almost entirely movement-based. I've been able to win games where I'm not necessarily playing that well, but just because I can outsmart opponents, or I can, I know how to work the game's movement mechanics better than them, I'll win games, or I'll win fights that I normally shouldn't be winning, just because I'm playing smarter than they are. The biggest issue I see that most people have is that they spend too much time running along the ground, and that is the biggest no-no you can have in the entire world. This is a game where literally every surface you can run along. Like, if you see stairs, ignore them. Like, you should always try to be finding, different routes. If you can jump out a window to run along the wall, do it. If you can find a way to, avoid just basic movements, do it. Yeah, for this game, and I think it's a good thing, we have to unlearn about 7 to 10 years of old shooter like standbys. And well, let's be fair, we have to unlearn everything we knew about Call of Duty, because the movement in this game is so different and so unique from other shooters that are out there right now, it finally gives us what I missed about older Halo games, and that was that you could be somewhat less skilled than your opponent, but you could outmove them, and get a better position on them, and win fights. Because that game was about, how you thought versus how it was more about how you thought versus how you could, necessarily shoot. The best metaphor I can come up with is something that a friend of mine so very well came up with, and I'm going to 100% steal it from him. Halo was a chess game. Call of Duty is blackjack. It's just a quick get in, get out, move, that sort of thing. Halo, you have to think about your moves. You have to think 4 moves ahead of yourself. You have to set up certain things. You have to work all the angles. You have to try and figure out what works, what doesn't, where you're going to be going, not just now, but 5 minutes from now, and how map control and how the different things are going to affect that game. Titanfall is not as big of a thinking game as Halo was, but it has some of those similar aspects. Titanfall is, I would say, speed chess. You can't think too much, but you still have to, keep things in mind. And the movement speed, which is what I'm trying to hit hard at here, is a big part of that. Like, the ability to literally run across the map in 5 to 7 seconds and completely take over an entire control point or a flag or a base is incredibly powerful. But the fact of the matter is, most people aren't going to think. They see walls, and they see these things. They see them as potential camping spots, which Call of Duty has kind of ingrained in us. You hold up a position, you cut off areas. That isn't the best way to play this game. The best way you can do to play this game is you want to find the best movement route, find the best way to move about the map, and you take control that way. Because if you outmaneuver your opponent, there's nothing that you can do to stop you. If you hold up just one position, if you're hanging on a wall, then you might kill them once, but they're going to know exactly where you are the next time, and they will use that maneuverability to get around you and fuck your shit up. So the simplest and biggest tip that I can give you people watching this is that move. Don't sit still, move. Run around the entire map, use the walls to your advantage. Hell, play the floor as lava. Don't ever touch the floor. Just keep bouncing off of walls and jumping around, and just get comfortable with how the movement of Titanfall works. Because if you become a master of that, you're going to find yourself playing this game much, much better. You're going to see your KD increase, you're going to see your wins increase, because again, this game is all about how well you move and how well you maneuver your opponents. 9 times out of 10, if I outmaneuver an opponent, even if I'm down 1 or 2 shots, I'll win a gunfight. And that speaks both to, my gun skill, but at the same time, it speaks to my ability to outplay an opponent using all the mechanics that the game has to offer me. Finally, guys, the biggest thing I can, the final big tip I can give you is have a multitude of classes. For a lot of people think a lot of people see this game and they don't see a shooter that's got a huge amount of depth, weapon wise or class wise, but that's where a lot of people do go wrong. And the biggest thing about this game is that there's a lot of different ways that you can play it. And I spoke about it in my impressions video, but this game empowers the player a great amount. So, sorry, I had to burp there. So my biggest suggestion for you guys is to come up with a multitude of classes. Have a flag running class with an SMG and stim and all the super fast movement perks that you can. Have a Titan takedown class with satchel charges and an archer rocket and a shotgun, because that's going to be the best thing that will be able to take down Titans. Have a long range sniper class for engagements across map. Have a couple AR classes depending on the map you're playing on, because each map and each gun is suited to a different role, and it works very well. Don't play this with the whole one gun fits all mentality, because I've seen people do it, and it's not that they aren't successful, but you could be about 100 times more successful if you were to actually work the game mechanics to your advantage. The game gives you this amazing movement ability. Use it. The game gives you a lot of guns that work in specific situations, and if you play to those strengths, you're going to be doing incredibly well. The game gives you the ability to, to hack things and to create more opportunities for yourself. Take advantage of that. Don't play this like every other shooter you've seen out there. Play this as what it is, which is a new take on FPSs in general. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope, this can help you guys a little bit when it comes to your Titanfall game. I will be having some Improving Your Forum episodes coming out sooner rather than later. It just, waiting until the meta develops a little bit and private matches allow for testing of certain things. But otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave some tips and tricks down below, or what you thought of my stuff for you guys. And as always, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and remember to watch 2 of my videos and call me in the morning.
All stored Spectre combat assets set to target hostile forces in suicide mode. Recommend maintaining 10-meter distance.
Shutting down transmission with the enemy.
Wasn't getting us anywhere anyhow. His forces were stronger.
Continue.